Alrighty guys, welcome back to the Owner-Operator Series. It's me, Boom again. We're here in Little Rock, Arkansas at Spirit Aerospace. Hang on, let me check the E-log to confirm that. Aircraft engines. Yeah, we picked up from here from Spirit. Over here we're going to the U.S. Air Force. We're taking it to the base. Says I gotta sleep in 2 hours, so we might catch a nap real quick before we take off. Make sure we're topped off with fuel. Anyways, you know the drill. Got the lights checked, make sure everything was good. Kick tires, everything's hunky-dory everywhere. So real quick, we can check GPS and see where the nearest rest stop is. I guess we will stop at this truck stop here. Got that marked. And we're going down to Fort Worth. So we're at, Spirit Aero Systems is where we're at. Alrighty, let's get going here. Have to make it out of the gate too. Just taking place where we left off in the last episode. How many episodes I'm gonna have per week. Might try to introduce some other stuff too here. The old California stop, which is not legal in any state, maybe besides California. But I take that back. My grandpa used to drive truck for FedEx, and I want to say it was New York or New Jersey. That's where it was. It's one of them over there, one of them states. He said you did not stop at a stop sign. He goes, if you did, there would be an accident and you would get a ticket. I was like, for stopping at a stop sign? He goes, yeah. He goes, that place over there is nuts. I think it was New Jersey, he was telling me. Then he also said New York. If you didn't know, or for those that don't know, is that the legal limit for a standard truck is 13 foot 6 inches. That is the maximum height you can be without having any special permits or anything like that. New York, he was going into New York City. I think his truck total was 12.8 or 13 even, something like that. And this bridge said 12.6. Middle of the interstate, just stops, pulls it over. Bumper to bumper traffic, and he stops, and he's got to figure out why he's got to get rerouted. New York City Police pulls up, and the lady's like, "Hey, what's the issue?" He goes, "Well, I'm 12.8, and that bridge says 12.6." And the officer's like, "Well, sir, that is for a foot of snow packed on the interstate." She goes, that bridge is 13.6 tall with no snow on the ground. She explains that during the wintertime, if the plows hadn't made it out there yet, that is the height with a foot of snow. If you're driving on top of the snow, it's 12 foot 6 inches. He goes, okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. So that's a pretty interesting fact about New York City, at least. I don't know if that's the whole state of New York or if that's the whole East Coast, up north, the Northeast, up there. Have no clue. Would like to know that for sure. But that was a pretty neat fact I learned. I grew up around truck driving. That grandpa that was talking about that drove for FedEx was on my mom's side. My grandpa on my dad's side, he drove a truck for the local feed mill. We'd go and pick up their feed in an old Peterbilt. It was an old 90s model Peterbilt 379. This old faded blue color. Big 72-inch sleeper. When I was a kid, that was the truck to have, is an old faded blue Peterbilt. I think it had a 10-speed in it and a cat. I don't know, I grew up around it. My dad was a diesel mechanic. On-road and off-road diesel mechanic. Ended up working for some family members that own a logging business. Got exposed to that. I actually learned how to drive a manual transmission in an older Kenworth T800. It was a self-loading log truck with a pup trailer. Got to learn that way, 18 speed. Then which that was up there in Cameron, Missouri, which that is also not in American Truck Simulator. Technically, it's not an actual city, but you can get up there on where US 36 and I-35 cross over each other up there, and that's Cameron right there. I need to get back over. I'm gonna use my turn signal here. Lived up there, worked for his family up there. Help Dad in the shop, learned some stuff from him, and learned how to drive a manual transmission. Then when we moved back here to Arkansas, he was working for this place out of Rogers, and as a freshman in high school, I was making money during the summer when their service contract through Peterbilt went out. I ended up servicing. They'd buy all the stuff, and I'd make $100 changing oil and occasionally fuel filters on Peterbilt trucks, with not even having a driver's license yet. I don't think at that point. I don't even think I had my learner's permit. But Dad, they had 10 speeds. They were all Cummins. I think they were 4 1/4 Cummins. The ISX series. Not quite sure which ones they were. I don't remember now. But serviced them. Paid $100 per truck. Of course, Dad, he's like, you can do it. So he'd have me drive him down the county road to the highway, and I'd stop, and he'd kind of teach me, which our county road at the time was gravel. It's paved now. It was, just a rough gravel road. And right before you got to the highway, you had this sweeping curve that went downhill if you're going towards the highway, and just a big just drop off the side into this big old gully. Turn up high Jake here. Yes, I know you're getting tired, buddy. I'm getting there. And he taught me a little bit more about how to float gears in these unsynchronized transmissions, which is pretty great for a 15-year-old kid, Got to learn that. And of course, I was playing American Truck Simulator then, and he goes, and the whole reason it ever got started, he's like, heck, you drive these trucks. They were Peterbilt, the newer 579s. just day cab trucks. He's like, he goes, if you can drive in the game, we're going to see if you can drive in real life. I'm like, are you sure this is a good idea? He goes, you'd be fine. He goes, I believe in you. Did that. That's pretty neat. Then he also, he got to working up in Missouri again for another family member. Kind of same deal, logging and storm cleanup, as he was doing there in Cameron. See, another thing that screws me up here is these are also marked. Yeah, this one is one I can pull into. There's the gear. Pull up here, shut the truck off, get some fuel. Got working up there, and of course all them boys up there have self-loading log trucks with homemade beds to pick up brush and stuff after hurricanes and tornadoes and natural disasters. Stuck me in one of those. It was a newer Peterbilt 567, I think. Dad wasn't a real big Peterbilt fan. His only deal was with it. He's a shorter legged guy, and the Peterbilt clutches, which I think I can show you here. Yeah, I can show you in this one. Go up here and stop, shut the truck off, sleep. But in the cab of the Peterbilt, the clutch pedal down here, instead of being like a normal car clutch, you have to push kind of forward and down towards the floorboard like you're stomping on it. And when you're short-legged, it's kind of hard to do that. Turn my lights on here. Cause a little cat nap here. On to Fort Worth. But if you're short-legged Peterbilt, the clutch is kind of hard to push down on, which I learned. I was the same height build as him, and I understood the struggle of trying to smash down that Peterbilt clutch. Which now not so bad. I'm a little longer-legged now and a little taller than he is, so I can hit that clutch a little bit better, a little bit easier than he can. Down the low. Well, Jake, we're not getting too stupid with it, but it was a grand old time. That's how I grew up. It's around all this. Probably what makes me like this game so much. Just kind of reminds me of my childhood here a little bit. Oh, get in there, puppet. There you go. Get face back forward. And Dad, too, he's one of them old school guys. If he needed help, it didn't matter how old you were, if you could help some way, he'd have you help him. Wanted to make sure we were included. I was in 2nd grade, and we were living up there in Cameron, and he had a blowout on that T800, he's in the middle of nowhere. Which up there, if you get up there in the northwest corner of Missouri, you can go to a little town called Jamesport, which is an Amish community, and they hand make a bunch of stuff up there. They make they excellent woodwork. Wood furniture's flawless. Wooden utensils. I mean, just they do absolutely good work. And they got sawmills up there, and we used to haul logs up there. Cool, get to bypass the scale. That little deal right there is my pre-pass up there. It's got the green light on it up there on the dash. If it shows up green, I can blow the scales. If it shows up red, I got to pull in. But we're hammered down. The only thing is I don't like the glare on this cell phone. Can't see it real well. 70 mile an hour. Oh, I think we're there. Oh, catch it. Hang on, driver. I can't get over here in a second as soon as Waste Management gets over. Push me over. But we had to go pick him up. I mean, the middle of nowhere. It was more towards Spickard, which is past Jamesport. There. Up in Texarkana. So where we could have gone if the game would have cooperated a little bit better. But anyways, got up there, went and picked him up. Had a blowout on one of the inner duals. It was on the rear inner duals on the passenger side. And Dad's like, I was going to limp it. And he goes, then the other tire right next to it blew. He goes, I didn't have much of a choice. I had to pull over here. And we brought him back to the shop. And I wanted to go with Dad so bad. And during the summer, it's hot. But I wanted to go with Dad. So anyways, Mom's like, yeah, you can go ahead. She goes, I about got dinner done. And Dad's like, well, I really don't want to get them tires changed before dark up there. So he goes, I'm going to be late for dinner. And she's like, well, you're going to have to reheat your dinner and stuff like that. And we had made some shish kebabs with some bell peppers, mushrooms, and some steak meat. She goes, are you going to be alright with reheating it and eating it? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I could go with Dad. Anything was great. If I go with Dad, I hurried and got dressed, rounded, put on my greasy clothes, and we loaded up the service truck. The service truck was an old GMC 2-ton truck, little single screw. Got rock and roll up there. Of course, it was like an hour and a half drive or two to get back up there towards Spickard, where we were. Helped Dad get the tire changed. Of course, I wasn't big enough to really bar nothing over. I could just kind of, once he got it barred over, I could hold it for him. Of course, growing up with a disc mechanic as Dad, you grew up being a little more stout than you probably should have been. Helped with that. Did all that. And here was the predicament. It was only me and him up there. And I mean, it's all dirt roads. Amish country. So we'll get back off the wake up strips. So anyways, we get up there and he goes, you're gonna have to drive the service truck up to the sawmill up here. Just drive the road. It's all dirt, no highway. I was like, alright. He goes, just like feeding with Grandpa. Grandpa on my mom's side, 3 or 4 years old. He stuck me in the cab of an old 86 Ford. I think it was, or 85 Ford, somewhere in there, an old bullnose. Stuck me in to have me steer. He goes, same thing, it's just you're gonna have to hit the brake and stuff. You got that? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. That's alright. He goes, it's like a big go-kart, but you ain't gonna go real fast. I'm like, alright. Had an Allison 6-speed. He had it limit down to first. He goes, you ain't gonna need nothing more than first. Just kind of follow me. So I followed him up in that service truck. Up there, spickered and had air brakes. I was barely strong enough to engage the brakes, pull that knob back out. I finally got it. And after we dropped that truck up there at the sawmill, he goes, one of them other boys is going to come in the morning and get it or bring me to it. We'll just leave it here for tonight. So he goes, we do got to unload these logs. So I climbed up there on the log loader with him and stood up there on the turntable as he unloaded the logs. I got to pull in. Good Lord, I bypassed one scale, now I got to pull on this one. Turn the big Jake on. Find my gear. Find it. Turn that stupid turn signal off. Look, this Cummins over here. Sat up there and talked with him, and as we unload the logs. And as a kid, I wasn't real big on heights, so he's like, "You all right?" Oh yeah, I'm fine. He goes, alright. He goes, it's gonna feel a little tippy up here, but he goes, we ain't gonna go over. We got these outriggers. We'll be okay. We'll be alright. So we had a good old time doing that. Got back home. It's like 9 o'clock. It's dark. And the family member he was working for was down there. We were coming back in. He goes, "You get changed all right?" Dad's like, "Yeah, we did." Well, that's good. He goes, "Now explain to me how in the world you got that service truck up there. Did you have to walk back?" And he goes, "No. He boom followed me all the way up there to the sawmill." He goes, "Really?" He goes, yeah, his grandpa used to stick him in his old farm truck and drive around the field as he dumped food or raked off hay off the bale spike or whatnot." He goes, "It ain't nothing new to him." He goes, "Good deal. It's a good deal. Maybe we can use you in the future when you get big enough to really drive a truck." Oh, bad accident over. That was neater. That was neater than all get out when you're a kid and get to drive a big truck. It might have been a 2-ton truck, but by George, it was big enough. Pretty set to 75 here. See if it's Jeep. Well, I might not have to get over. Oh, ain't nobody coming that way. Oh, definitely won't have to get used to these physics here since we got the truck stability turned down. I can feel a lot more of the road through my steering wheel now. Get used to that rocket motion. Turn my Jake back on. But real neat. Down 65 there. Then we left up there we came back to Arkansas for a little bit, a couple of years, and Actually, it was longer than a couple years. Actually, I was 6th grade. An old boy called, said, "Hey, kind of like you to join us again." And he's like, "Well, you know, things gonna have to be a little bit different." Because, of course, we were staying up there in a camper for a little bit. Then we found a place for rent up there. Every time we first went up there, we always had to stay in the camper. And he goes, "You know what? They don't, we really don't like living in the camper. Something a little different." He goes, "Well, it's gonna be different this time." He goes, "We're gonna make sure this time you got a place to stay where you don't have to worry about it. You just come up here and work." Dad's like, "Alright." So he talked it over with Mom. We ended up moving back up there. We stayed in the camper for the first little bit during the summer, and it was hot. Oh Lord, it was hot. Of course, my little brother, he's first or 2nd grade. It was hot. Of course, he wanted cookies and stuff, and he was used to. He was a little bitty kid when we lived up there the first time in the camper and stuff, so he don't remember a whole lot of it. The first time we lived up there, and he didn't understand we couldn't bake cookies in the camper with 100 degrees outside because it just make that camper unbearable and the AC would freeze up. Just a bad deal. So, Mom, it was hot enough we could bake cookies outside in the sun. That's how hot it was up there. But we stuck it out, made it through, and they ended up buying a house up there for us to live in. It was a good deal right there in the middle of town. Ended up living across the road from one of my buddies when we lived up there the first time in 2nd and 3rd grade. So that's neat. I had to just walk over and hang out with him, or he'd walk over and hang out with me or whatnot. It's all good. And at that time, I was homeschooled. We were homeschooled then, at that point in time, during my middle school days. I didn't really like it too much. I ended up going back my freshman year because I wanted to go back to school because I got tired of this homeschool crap. It's the 2nd exit toward Denton. So during the mornings I do schoolwork, and the afternoons after Dad came home for lunch, I'd go with him and help him at the shop, make a little side money. During the summer, got ready for storm season, and make sure the truck beds were painted and had fresh paint on them. Did that, helped organize the shop trailer, which was one of them moving van trailers. To work out of when we're in a remote area, store extra parts and tires and oil and whatnot. Did that. Some days Dad wouldn't work at the shop, but I'd still go with him. We'd go run the dump truck, or we'd go run a load of logs, or went up to Spickard one time. I had a Volvo that we ended up stretching the frame on and moving the loader in the back of the truck instead of right up against the cab. Like it was a Northeast truck. Most of them guys ran them up there next to the cab because it was easier. They didn't have to run the hydraulic lines all the way back and contend with all that mess. But we stretched the frame to a normal frame length like all the other trucks, so it take the same bed and everything. We went up there and got the skidder a couple times and did this and did that, and ended up watching my little cousins a couple times. Just ride around playing in the woods with them. Grand old time. And we moved back halfway through my freshman year. Come on back home. Back to Arkansas. The plan was originally we'd wait out the rest of my freshman year and then come back home, but that didn't work out. So we moved back home early. Switch over to Little Jake. We're in town now. But while we were up there the last time, living up there, I was old enough getting equipment, move it around and stuff like that. So when we were stretching the frame on that Volvo, we had the loader. Dad had the loader outside. It's cold. And he was power washing it, getting it all cleaned up to paint it black because it was this bright red color and the truck was green at the time and just kind of looked like a hot mess. And he had me run that wheel loader. He guided me in to bring that loader back in the shop. I said, "Dad, you sure about this?" He goes, "Yeah, it'll be alright." He goes, "You ain't gonna go fast enough to hurt nothing. Just keep an eye on how I'm guiding you." He goes, "You'll be alright." I'm like, "Alright." So he'd stick me anything I could get in and felt comfortable running. Through the first gate. That's how I grew up. Learned how to run heavy equipment and work on bigger diesel stuff, and not far enough up here. Nope, I'm still not far enough up. A lot further up. There we go. Alright, make sure it took that time. We went to Fort Scott, Kansas one time to it was either pick up the tree cutter, or drop off the tree cutter. I think it was picking it up. Went to go pick it up because we were done cutting trees and it was time to top. Where in the world is this drop off point? It's over here to the right somewhere. Ah, it's right there. Okay, back in, it's going to be loaded on this cargo jet. But we hauled the Bobcat on the back of this old Freightliner Cascadia. No, Columbia. It was a Columbia. Old Freightliner Columbia, which was kind of a weird setup here. It had an automatic transmission. One of them smart shifts in it. Basically next to the steering wheel there where it says not for parking. That lever, that's where the smart shift would be. And but it also had a clutch, which is real weird. And if you didn't press the clutch, it grind and carry on. And I'm definitely gonna swap these mirrors out first chance I get. I'm used to rocking them other mirrors. These just ain't cutting the mustard. Back in here. There we go. As soon as that line turns in, we're good. Parking brake on. Dump the suspension. And unhook the trailer. But we had the Bobcat on it was on a tilt deck, or a drop deck flatbed. And the Bobcat was all in the middle of it. And he goes, hey, get in there and drive that down. No jobs. Story of my life. But he goes, get in there and drive that thing off her. I said, okay. He goes, now, when you get to the end of that trailer with that Bobcat, it's going to feel like you're going to tip over. He goes, you'll be alright, just keep going. Alright, I didn't think it was going to be that drastic of a drop-off. Well, I got to the end of that drop-off, on the end of that drop deck trailer. Lord have mercy, I thought I was going to flip that thing over, so I rammed it in reverse. It's joystick control, so I just pulled back on that joystick, came back up on the trailer. It really got to flopping around. I mean, just my eyes are about to pop out of my head. I'm so wide-eyed. He's sitting there just laughing. He goes, "It bad, just go off her. You'll be fine. Just use that same energy going off as you did back on there." I'm like, alright then. Oh, we do have. There is a load. I guess it's just wigging out. It's a heavy haul load. Where in the hell is this trailer at? Oh, we were at the Air Force. Oh, that's why. This is FedEx. Oh, it's right there, right in front of your eyeballs. Oh, it's right behind the mirror. That's why I can't see it. We'll grab this thing and go back to El Dorado, Arkansas. Dump the suspension. Probably not too realistic to look out the window, but that's how I'm gonna do it. And it should be pretty straight there. Close. There we go. Raise suspension. Jump out of here, hook the trailer up. We already got our tail lights on. Left turn, right turn, truck. We know the truck works. But yeah, that's kind of how I grew up. It was definitely a learning curve. Let's see if we can clear. Oh yeah, you can definitely feel the weight on the back of this thing. I'll be using all 18 for this thing. Good lord, it's heavy. This old 400 horse Cummins should be able to handle it pretty good. Am I not going to close enough? Ah, I'm not close enough again. Good lord. There we go. Have to stick her all the way down low. Make sure we don't scrape the gate here. There she goes. Definitely a little bit of load on her, but we will park up right here, check everything over real quick. Just kind of look at all of it. Good lord, that's a big sucker, ain't it? How much the old E-Log said that thing weighs? We got 7 hours before we have to sleep. We'll sleep by the time we get back. How much does that thing weigh? 66,000 pounds. That is a load. That is a load. I do think, however, that's going to be the end of this episode. I appreciate y'all's time watching. Consider hitting the like button, subscribing. Turn on that notification bell so you know when I release another video. I'm going to try to do 2 videos a week. We'll see how that goes. So this is going to be week 1 in a sense. 2 videos. This will be the second video. Hopefully if I can get the timing alright. I'm not sure of an upload schedule. Have to check in on that. But I will catch y'all in the next one. We'll see you.